This video will be quite sad and tragic, kind of like the stories of the orphans, the fate their parents underwent, the reason that that fate happened. There's a lot here that may upset you or disturb you, and I urge you to look away. If you insist on continuing to watch, I will break down this series of unfortunate events. But know that you have the opportunity to go and have a happy day unfettered by the misery that befell the Beaudelaires orphans. But I'd really appreciate if you would stay and watch, because I'm assuming you'd watch this video if you've read the books, seen that one film that wasn't as good as it could have been or should have been, and more importantly, which is kind of most of the focus of this episode, seen the 3-season series starring Neil Patrick Harris, Patrick Warburton and 3 amazing young actors, amongst a whole host of others. I first came across the series when I was in my early 20s, and even then I was looking at them and finding them very interesting, at least, let's say. I love the kind of macabre, I love the dark humour, I love that kind of thing. So it was right up my alley. But I think I only got to about, I'm going to say book 6, maybe, at a push. And for reasons that will go unmentioned, I was no longer, I no longer had access to them, and I didn't get them myself because they were ostensibly children's books, and I felt a bit weird going and buying children's books for myself. So I left it there. Then the Jim Carrey film came out, and there was good. There were elements to love about it. The fact that it was, trying to tell the first few books of the story being a big one, and Jim Carrey is a great character actor. He's very flexible. He's great at kind of really embodying a role. And I've just remembered that maybe at some point I will do a video on Man on the Moon. There's my word. And, it just lacked a certain thing. It lacked something that made the books so magical. And this is why we only got the first one. Add to that the fact of, they'd have to go back and do more filming and stuff like that, and they didn't want to kind of try and figure out why Sonny's suddenly, older, maybe, and, obviously, while the older kids as well, Violet and Klaus may look older as well. So it just kind of fell by the wayside. But luckily, within the last few years, Barry Sonnenfeld and a few other people came together and said, we will make this happen. And I think this format was the best idea for it. Like the books, like the film that preceded it, it cleverly is timeless. There are references to very modern things. They even reference the fact that it's on Netflix. They're talking about streaming services. But they also seem to have very antiquated bathing suits, for argument's sake. And a lot of the decor sort of spans the eras. There's Art Deco in a lot of the that's elevator kind of focused ones. And you've got sort of maybe some kind of 50s retro kind of stuff there as well. But then you've got kind of slightly Victorian appearance. It's a great melding, and it is very true to the world and themes of the book. Now, one of the biggest issues when you're bringing something like this to a filmed medium is how do you do the narration bits? Because that's part of the world that's built here. We are experiencing the world of Lemony Snicket as he tries to find out what happened to the Beaudelaires orphans, or not, well, tries to find out in one timeline and tells us about what he found out in, I suppose, the timeline of him writing these books. And it handles it by having Patrick Warburton playing Daniel Handler's pseudonym, Lemony Snicket himself, and his extended family, obviously, with Nathan Fillion, etc. Do sort of feature, and I think that was the best way to do it. Sort of incorporate him into the tale as, as a narrator. And of course, the other big thing is Sonny's translations. It was always going to be subtitles. It just makes perfect sense. But unlike the films, which I'm guessing that one of the reasons we didn't get more is because Sonny would age, and the others, but Sonny more importantly. I like the way they handled it with this. They reference it even. It's just like, yeah, well, she's a bit older. I know it's only meant to be like a few weeks, but hey, this kid's growing fast. And it works. You know, there's so much to love about this. And the series as a whole, a lot of people might be turned away from it saying, how is this good for kids? This is very dark. This is very sinister. Very unsettling material. Kids don't need protecting from that. Many kids will grow up so much better if you let them embrace a little of the darkness. Still controlled. I'm not saying, you know, sort of, I don't know, show them serial killer documentaries every Friday night before bed. That may be pushing it. Well, depending on the age of the child, who knows? Maybe not Stove, no. But let them embrace the darkness, because one of the biggest questions we have when we're young isn't, oh, what's it like in Sunshine and Lollipop Land? It's, but what happens when we die? What is so bad about the world? Why are there bad things in the world? What causes this? Why does this happen? And these are the things that we need to give them safe outlets to explore. And to me, that's what the book, the film to a lesser degree, but the series really does. It shows them a way of explaining why bad things happen, how they happen, when small little issues can blow up into massive spats that last for decades, which is the whole reason this whole series exists. An argument years ago just suddenly splinters a group who are meant to be heroes to a degree, and then we end up with this kind of weird spy thriller kind of backdrop to their escapades. But another thing the series does really well, and when I say series, I mean book series and TV series in particular, it gives us hope. It presents us with a lot of bleak, upsetting tales, but there is always hope. The VFD are always very optimistic. They are very future-facing. They are looking for a way to resolve this. They are looking to help people out who have been affected by the aftermath. They embody a hope, even in the face of abject, soul-crushing despair that would ruin a lesser person. They pull themselves up by the bootstraps, and they know that tomorrow will bring another dawn, and there is a way forward. So, yeah, I think the series is great. I think it really helps young minds explore the darker elements, but keeps it light enough and gives them hope. If you haven't checked out any of the material, or if you've only maybe seen like the Jim Carrey film, don't think that that is just how it is. Go back, watch the Netflix series. If you enjoy that, get the books. Because I think it has a place in this world. Whilst it may have been a series of unfortunate events that brought these things to us, I would consider it a very fortunate event that we have it. So that'll be it for this week, but I do hope you'll join me next time for something different, and until then, as always, thanks for watching, and take care.
Hello, 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 children.